The alarm goes off. Bum, bum, bum. Wake up, catch a train, go to work, stop for lunch, go back to work, end of day, stop work, walk to the station, catch a train, go home, have dinner, watch TV, go to bed, now repeat. That was my routine as a high schooler when I was 14. And for most of us, we're still doing exactly the same routine as grown-ups. The alarm goes off, bum, bum, bum. Wake up, catch a train, go to work, stop for lunch, go back to work, end of day, stop work, walk to the station, catch a train, go home, have dinner, watch TV, go to bed, now repeat. We have exactly the same routine we had when we were 14-year-olds. Nothing has changed, except we're getting up earlier, we're more busy, we're more tired. We haven't gained anything, we haven't gone anywhere, except we have more debt, more responsibility, and less freedom. If anything, we've gone backwards. And that's why we look at young people and we go, oh, to be young again. So what's the point of it all? We've just swapped one daily grind for another daily grind. How can I find meaning in my daily grind of life? So welcome to our forum. And in this month, we're having a series of talks looking at the meaning of life. And in this month, we'll be looking at these questions. How can I find meaning in the daily grind? How can I find meaning in the search for knowledge, the pursuit of pleasure, and the drudgery of work? And each week, one by one, we'll go through each of these questions, and we'll try to see what the Bible, in particular the book of Ecclesiastes, has to say about our question. And this will come in the form of a talk, 20-minute talk from me, followed by some Q&A. And today is week 1, question 1, and our question is this: how can I find meaning in the daily grind? And I'm going to define the daily grind as this: it's us doing the same thing, same routine, day after day, week after week, year after year. And in the Bible reading in front of us, in that first chunk, in verse 9, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9, it says this: what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. And the Bible seems to be describing our daily grind. It's the same thing, same old, same routine, day after day, year after year. And so our question is this: what do we gain from this? What is the point? Where is the joy? How can I find meaning in my daily grind? Well, my talk's going to have 2 parts. In the first part, part A, we'll look at what the daily grind feels like. And in the second part, part B, what we can do about the daily grind. So let's begin with the first part, part A, what the daily grind feels like. And here I've got 2 things to say. Number 1, every day feels just like the day before. Every day feels like exactly the same. We wake up the same time, we brush our teeth the same time, we catch the same train, same time, same platform, same carriage, same people around us. And then we go to work in the same place, same desk, and then we eat the same lunch at the same place, which is usually the desk, the same desk. And every day feels just like the day before. And after a while, it becomes a little bit numbing. A few years ago, I broke my hand, and so I had to have my arm in a cast. And it's a real hassle having an arm in a cast because you have to do everything one-handed. And it was really hard to write. It's really hard to put toothpaste on a toothbrush with one hand. And it's really hard getting toilet paper from a toilet roll with one hand. You go like this, dong, 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 dong. My wife also broke her arm once, and she had her arm in a cast. So it was my job as the husband to do her hair every morning. So I had to put the scrunchie on her head. And gentlemen, let me just say this: it's a lot harder to put a scrunchie on her head than you think it is. Women just make hard things look easy and don't talk about it. Men make easy things look hard and they whine about it. Now, doctors will also say there's another problem with having your arm in a cast. After a while, because you haven't moved your arm just starts wasting away, and you also get pressure sores which you don't even feel because you become numb to the pain. And every day doing the same thing, day after day, year after year, after a while our lives feel like they're just wasting away. And we become numb to the pain. We become numb to the traffic, the commute, and the fact that our lives are going nowhere. We just get numb to it all. And we just function every day on autopilot. We catch the train on autopilot. We work at our stations like robots. We eat our lunches like zombies. And did you notice I use words like autopilot, robots, zombies? Those are dehumanizing words. There's something very dehumanizing about what we're doing the same thing day after day. That's the first thing. Every day feels just like the day before. The second thing about the daily grind is this. It feels like we're not getting anywhere. In Greek mythology, we have the story of Sisyphus, who's condemned to roll a stone up a hill, only to have to roll back down the hill, so he has to do the same thing all over again. And this was his punishment from the gods. And the idea is, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, after a while it becomes futile. It's pointless. You're not going anywhere. You're not gaining anything. We just had New Year's. And this New Year's, we all made the same resolutions. This year, I'm going to exercise more. But sure enough, by the end of the year, we won't have done any of our resolutions. We won't have exercised more. We won't have learnt a new language. We won't have learnt a musical instrument. But next year, we'll make the same resolutions, just like we did the year before. We don't seem to gain anything or get anywhere. We're the same person we were the year before and the year before that. We're not getting anywhere. My wife and I, just a few years ago, finally bought a house. We've been renting, and about 5 years ago, we decided to buy a house. So now we're locked into a 30-year mortgage. And every month we make our payments, but we don't seem to be getting anywhere. Every month we make our payments, but the balance seems to be just the same. We don't seem to be getting anywhere. Despite our daily routine, we don't seem to be gaining anything or getting anywhere. It all just seems a little bit futile. Now, in those verses in front of us, in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, it says this: "What do people gain from their labours at which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun." So this Bible reading seems to be describing our daily routine. Every day feels like the day before, and we don't seem to be getting anywhere despite our daily routine. So that's part A. That's what the daily grind feels like. So let's come to part B. What can we do about our daily grind? And I think from the Bible reading we have, I think we can suggest two things we can do, maybe two keys to surviving the daily grind. The first thing is this: we can enjoy the moment. Enjoy things just for what they are. This is the first key, where we can reframe how we see our daily grind, and maybe it's okay that things stay the same day after day, year after year. When I was in high school, after high school one day, a bunch of us guys, we went to the nearby park and we just sat there after school. And then there was this old man running around the park, just doing laps. And being schoolboys, we decided to form a cheer squad for him. And so we stood on a corner, and every time he came around, we clapped and we cheered for him. And he loved it. Every time he came around to our cheer squad, he'd have his arms up in the air in this mock celebration. He was loving the moment, and we were loving the moment. But hang on, he wasn't gaining anything. He wasn't winning a race. He wasn't making any net distance. He was just doing laps, going round and round and round, yes, but he was in the moment and he was enjoying the moment. So a key theme in the book of Ecclesiastes is this, and I owe this observation to my Bible teacher, Kirk Paxton. A key theme in the book of Ecclesiastes is this: we should learn to reframe how we see the world, enjoy the moment for what it is, a good gift from a good God for us to enjoy, and don't make any more or less of it than what it is, a good gift from a good God. So when it comes to our daily grind, we need to reframe the way we see our daily grind and enjoy the moment for what it is, a good gift from a good God for us to enjoy, and don't make any more or less of it than what it is. Now, I have 3 boys, Toby, Cooper and Jonty. They're aged 8, 6 and 4. And at night, I often read them a bedtime story. And they're always saying they want the same story over and over and over again. And this is a story they ask for. They want the bike lesson. We want the bike lesson again. We want the bike lesson. And I'm saying, no. Let's not do the bike lesson again. And they go, no. We want the bike lesson. We want the bike lesson. And so when I pull out the bike lesson again, they go, yeah, it's the bike lesson again. They love hearing the same story over and over and over again. They see routine and repetition as something to be celebrated. In their childlike innocence, they see wonder and beauty in routine and repetition. As a public speaker, it's funny, I'm not allowed to give the same talk all over again. If you came next week to hear me talk and I gave this same talk, you'd be going, boo, boo, get off, we've heard that talk, it's old, we don't want to hear that talk. But if I was a singer and I was Bruce Springsteen or Taylor Swift and I sang the same old song, you'd be going, yeah, you'd be clapping, cheering, hollering. We love that song. Sing that song again, because you would know the words and you'd be singing along. You want to hear the same old songs from singers. Cold Chisel last month were touring and a nurse from work went and I asked her, well, how's the concert? And she said, they just kept doing their new stuff. We wanted to hear their old stuff. It's funny, singers want to do their new stuff, but we just want to hear the old songs over and over again. We like to hear the old things over and over again. See, it's funny, as human beings, we think we don't like routine and repetition, but actually we need it. We like it, we thrive on it, and we crave it. Just last month, we had a family holiday. We went to a beach, and we stayed there for about 14 days. And I've worked out a summer family holiday needs to be 14 days. 7 days, not quite long enough. 10 days, still not long enough. 14 days, that is just right, because you spend the first third de-stressing, the middle third relaxing, and the final third, okay, I'm over this. I need to get back to work. I need some routine in my life. And I actually left the holiday 1 day early because it was driving me nuts just doing nothing. I needed some routine. And even when we got home, my boys were clapping and cheering, we're back home, we're back home. So even though we think we don't like routine, we do like it. We want it, we need it, we crave it, we thrive on routine. One day a week, I work as a doctor, and I work with an orthopedic surgeon, and this is what we do, we operate. Now, in an operation, as doctors, we actually like routine and repetition. We want every operation to go just like the operation before. We don't like it when something different happens in an operation. We don't like it when we have to say, that's never happened before. See, in an operation, new is not good. We don't want new. We want every operation to go just like the operation before. We like routine and repetition. Now, this is a metronome. So I can hear the groans from everyone who had to do music as a kid. I can hear groans from all the Asians here in the audience. Now, a metronome, you know what it does. It just goes tick-tock, tick-tock, over and over and over and over again. And we sort of hate it, but at the same time, we need it. It keeps us in time. It's what makes music beautiful. There's timing, rhythm, and repetition. It keeps us in time. And this is the whole enterprise of science. In science, we actually need the universe to work like a metronome. Tick, tock, tick, tick-tock, over and over and over again. These are chemical equations where you have to balance them. And again, the groans from all the people who did chemistry, from all the Asians, obviously, in the audience. Now, on the one hand, we hate it, but on the other hand, we love it. We need the repetition. We need those chemicals to do exactly the same thing over and over and over again. Otherwise, the universe would implode. The whole enterprise of science requires that our universe works like clockwork on rhythm and repetition. We need the sun to rise from the east every single day. We need gravity to be 9.8 meters per second squared every single day. As doctors, we need the hemoglobin oxygen desaturation curve to do exactly the same thing every single day. It's what keeps us alive. We need rhythm and repetition, and there's a wonder and beauty in this. So maybe we need to reframe how we see rhythm and repetition and see the wonder and beauty in it. So we can now use fresh eyes to reread these verses in the Bible, and I owe this insight again to my Bible teacher, Kirk Patson. This is how it would now sound like if we reread this with a reframing and fresh eyes. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. It's going to do the same thing all over again. That's amazing. And the wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. That's fantastic that the wind does that. And look, all streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. How does that happen? This is the water cycle we learn about in science. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. So we need to reframe the way we see the world and see the beauty and the wonder in the rhythm and routine in our everyday life. I'm catching the same train today as I did yesterday. And look, it's on time. Wow, how does that happen? I have a job in the city with a desk. How does that happen? And tomorrow I'll have the same job and the same desk. And that's a miracle with hot desking. How did that happen? And look, I'm having lunch today in the same place I did yesterday. And they didn't run out of food. How does that happen? We need to reframe the way we see the world, enjoy the moment for what it is, a good gift from a good God for us to enjoy, and don't make any more or less of it than what it is, and see the wonder and beauty programmed into the rhythm and repetition of our life. And the second thing we can do is this. We need to worship the God who's behind all this. And I'm getting this from that second chunk, the Bible reading, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and it says this. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live. That's that first key we were talking about, enjoy the moment. That each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. Enjoy the moment. It's a gift from God. But this only works if we do the second thing. And the second thing is this. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. We can only enjoy the moment, which is the first key, if we also have the second one, that we know the God who's behind all this and we love him and worship him. See, if everything we have is a gift from a loving God, then we also need to know this God, to love him and worship him, to be in tune with this universe. See, as humans, basically we have two choices. We have two choices. Here is choice number one. This is an impersonal universe full of impersonal atoms, and I'm really just a bunch of impersonal atoms. And the events in my life just happen day after day, but that's all they are, events. And I can try to impose meaning upon these events, but really, they're meaningless and they're just events. Get over it. They're just random impersonal events. That's our first choice. But our second choice can be this. There is a loving, warm, personal God who's behind this universe. And the events that happen in my life are a gift from this God to me. And I can enjoy them, but more importantly, I need to know, love, and worship the God who's behind the events in my life. When I was a medical student, I did an obstetrics term in Blacktown Hospital, and in the antenatal clinic, I would see women around the 30 or 40 week mark of their pregnancy. And one of the jobs I had to do was, as part of the routine examination, get a Doppler probe and try to hear the heartbeat of the baby inside. And because I wasn't very good at it, often I couldn't hear the heartbeat because I wasn't angling the probe just right. But when I finally got the angle just right, whoosh, 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 you could hear the heartbeat of the baby so loud, so clear. You wonder how you missed it the first time. And it's the same with the universe. In the rhythm and the repetition of our life, in a daily grind, if we listen hard enough, whoosh, 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 we can actually hear the heartbeat of the God who's behind this universe so loud and clear. You wonder how we missed it the first time. The God who's behind the events that happen in our life. The God who makes this universe repeatable and dependable. The God who programs the events and seasons in our life. The God who allows the possibility of wonder, beauty, and logic in this universe. And if we can hear his heartbeat, then we can be in tune with the rhythm that he wants in our life. So do you remember our original question? It was this: how do I find meaning in the daily grind? And today I've suggested two things. Number one, reframe how we see the world. Reframe how we see our daily grind. Enjoy it as a gift from a good God, and don't make any more or less of it than what it is, a gift from a good God. But if there really is a God behind the universe that gives it meaning, we also need to know, love, and worship this God. Just this year, our 13-year-old family car died, and so we had to junk it. But my parents then gave me their old car, this 10-year-old car here, as a gift. So, yeah, it's a safe car, it's a reliable car, it's an economical car, but it's not fast, it's not flash. Now, there are two ways I can tell this story. Story number one, this is the car my parents gave me. Yes, it's reliable and safe and economical, but it's not fast, it's not flashy, it just gets you from point A to point B. Really, it's just a giant shopping trolley in disguise. It's not a Porsche, it's not an SS Commodore. Why didn't they give me those cars? Why did they have to give me this car? That's story number one. Story number two goes like this. This car is a gift from my parents to me. Now, I know it's not fast, it's not flash, it's not a Porsche, it's not an SS Commodore Ute, but hey, it's reliable, gets me from point A to point B, it's safe, it's economical, but most importantly, it was a gift from my parents to me for free. And now I know I have parents who love me and support me and have my back. What about the story of our life? There are two ways we can tell the story of our life. Story number one will go like this. This is my life. It's a very ordinary life. I'm not super rich. I'm not super successful. It's a very ordinary life. I haven't won any Nobel Peace Prizes. I'm not a rock star. I'm not a brain surgeon. It's a very ordinary life. Why does this have to be my life? That's story number one. Story number two would go like this. My life is a gift to me from God. Now, I know I'm not super successful. I'm not super rich. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not a rock star. I haven't won any Nobel Peace Prizes. But my life is a gift to me from God. Every event in my life has meaning because it's a gift from a warm, loving God who runs his universe. But most importantly, it's a gift for free from God. And now I know I have a God who loves me, supports me, and has my back. So which is going to be the story of our lives? How can we survive the daily grind? We need to reframe how we see our life. Enjoy the moment for what it is, a good gift from a good God. But don't make any more or less of it than what it is, a good gift from a good God. And we need to know, love, and worship the God who's behind this universe.
You can listen to some of the answers to questions that Sam has. So the first one kind of comes down to a question on balance. This one seems to be consistent from the last couple days. But how do we discern when to enjoy the moment, as you're kind of talking about, and when to do something different than the daily grind?
Right. Yeah, so we have the daily grind, but at the same time, every now and then it's good to break out of the daily grind. And I think that's a tension we're feeling. And if we had time, we could explore more of the books in the Bible where they would address this tension. But basically, life can be understood this way, and I owe this observation to Paul Hibbert, who's an anthropologist. He doesn't use the exact words I'm using here, but basically life needs two sorts of rituals. We need rituals of routine and maintenance, which is what I've sort of argued for today. But at the same time, we need rituals of disruption, and we need the two in balance. And if all we're getting are rituals of disruption, it will break us. But if all we're getting are rituals of routine and maintenance, well, then it just becomes, it deadens us. So we need both hand in hand. So what would this look like? Well, just at a level of your own personal life, we all need rituals of routine and maintenance, which is what I've argued for today. But examples would be sleeping, eating, and working, and they just keep us maintained at a steady rhythm. But every now and then, we need routines of disruption, and they make us stronger. And exercise is the best example of that. So when you exercise, that is a routine disruption. As you're exercising, your body, your mind is going, why are we doing this? Why are we running? There's no one chasing me. Why am I running? And I'm not training for a race. Why am I running? Because it makes you stronger. But it's disrupting you. Your body's going, this hurts. I don't like this. And, you know, in infomercials, when they show people exercising and they're smiling, that is a lie. Because if you're doing it properly, you won't be smiling because your body is meant to be breaking while you exercise. You rip the muscles so they come back stronger. Stress the heart so it comes back stronger. So if all you had was just eating, sleeping, and working, then you get unfit. If all you had was this, you break down. Another example would be at a level of family life. We need our routines, eat together, talk together, have a ritual of routine. But we need disruption every now and then, like a family holiday. And that just mixes everything up. And that's just stress, crisis counselling, always conflict resolution. Where should we go? This place or this place? How do we get there? Bus or train or car? So you're always in crisis management, but it makes you stronger. So we sort of need the two in life. So when all we have is routine, we crave a bit of wildness. But if all we have is wildness, we crave a bit of routine. And I think that's what Ecclesiastes is saying. Hey, the routine is good. We need it more than we realise. Yes, we need this, but we need this as well. And just allow me one more analogy. So music, you know, Baroque music, rhythm, but it's boring. After a while, you fall asleep. So in 20th century, they experimented with wildness, atonal music, and it was like, this is terrible. I can't listen to this. So the happy medium is jazz, isn't it? Jazz. So you have your rhythm, your chord progression stays exactly the same, but there's a bit of ad-lib, a bit of wildness in that. I think that's what life is. You can't just have atonal life. You need rhythm and repetition, which is what Ecclesiastes is arguing for.
All right.
See the beauty in it.
Okay. Now, are there any questions from the floor? Anybody who would like to ask questions or even push back? Because it's okay for them to kind of push back,
sure,
even if they don't agree on the topic or anything. Okay. All right. Well, because I have two more questions here. And I don't know, this seems to be consistent again with yesterday, but everybody seems to want to know what your favorite Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift song would be.
Oh, okay. Oh, gee, I can never remember the names of the Taylor Swift songs. I know the video clips. So there's one where there's a love story one. Then there's one where she wants to be the guy's girlfriend. And then the haters hate to hate. Haters going to hate, that one. But Bruce Springsteen, I had just like 300 to choose from. But today, for our Stuart's sake, I'll say it was Thunder Road.
Thunder Road, okay.
And the scary thing is I know the words to all of them.
Oh, okay. You know the words to all?
Yeah, so join me in karaoke one night.
Okay.
We could do it.
Fantastic. Great. All right, you ready for the next one?
Sure.
Okay, then the next question is, death is a sort of routine, as in everyone's born, they all will die. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. Is there something to enjoy in looking at that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so if death ends it all, what is the meaning? How can we enjoy it? And this is something Ecclesiastes is going to push a bit further. It's interesting, I was reading a ski magazine, and one of the prominent skiers died in an avalanche, one of their famous ones they were using. And so the editorial said, well, it just goes to show then. And then, well, what does it go to show that life is so short and we die? It said, well, we just got to do what we enjoy. And that was the conclusion from the editorial. And I think that's a common refrain. If life is short and we're going to die, well, then you just got to seize the moment and do what we can to enjoy it. But as I've argued here today, if there is no God behind this universe, that's sort of meaningless because we're just impersonal atoms just bouncing around. What is joy? What is beauty? What is wonder? We need a God who's behind this universe to even make this possible. And if life is short, maybe meaning can be found in finding out maybe life isn't short and there is an eternity, a life after death we can enjoy. And that's something we can explore in some of the later talks on Ecclesiastes.
Okay, great. Okay, good. And again, if you ask that question, please feel free to, put up your hand, and if you want to push back on any of those things. I think I have one more question here for you. This is kind of a social media kind of idea. Do you think that the media or advertisers create or encourage discontent in us?
Oh, do I think so? Well, that's their job, isn't it? To market, to sell. You got to make people feel like, hey, I didn't know that. My life was perfectly happy. I did not know I needed that product. I did not know I needed that orange juice or that soft drink. But now you're right, I'm completely malcontent without that orange juice. So yes, I'm sure that creates a lot of the discontent.
So maybe sometimes it's being fueled by the media.
Well, what's fascinating is our parents' generation would buy a $2,000 couch, and it was meant to last 40 years. That's why it was covered in plastic. For the Asians, they always cover their couches in plastic. This is going to last a lifetime, a generation. And my dad would always vacuum the car. We weren't allowed to eat in it, couldn't chew gum in it, because his car had to last, because he'd spent $5,000 on it. But now our generation, we buy a laptop for $4,000, and we upgrade it every 3 or 4 years.
Right.
We buy new phones for $500, which is the price of a fridge, which our parents' generation was meant to last. But somehow we're taught to be discontent every 2 or 3 years with what we have.
All right. So you think that with the rest of this talk, these talks, maybe you'll be able to address some of those typical topics that I brought up?
Definitely.
Okay, fantastic.
For sure.